Good, that's good. Who want to thank the men for helping in service this morning? Thank Sister Janice and Sister Victoria for getting the food prepared and ready for us. Want to thank Sister Hannah for working with the children. Want to thank the children for working with Sister Hannah. Y'all doing all right this morning? That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So, still seed in the soil. Today is part 2. And this isn't the title, just like last week. Alignment to assignment wasn't our title. It was kind of like a mid, title, But you know, last Sunday, the sermon's title was When God Says Go, right? Today, we're going to talk about one body, many members. All right. The title of the day is Understanding the Body. All right. So last week we made a shift. We moved from alignment to assignment. We didn't stay in preparation. We are taking the steps to move into this church's purpose. All right. Now, in the Seed the Soil series, part 1 was, as I said, When God Says Go. We saw that Jesus didn't just get prepared, right? He then got sent. All right. So everything we've been doing up to this point, God has been preparing us, right? And when the Father said go, where do we see our head? Where do we see Jesus go? Well, he went to the people, right? We saw him go to the well, right? We saw him go inside of homes. We saw him go to where men were working, the boats, right? We saw him go by the roadside and the byways, right? No matter what the situation was, Jesus didn't wait for people to come to him. He went to them. And that's what us as his body have to mirror, okay? But we made it clear last week, and how Jesus was sent is the same way this church will be sent, all right? We're going to do it exactly how Jesus do it. But before you move a body, you have to understand how it works. Movement without understanding creates confusion. And that's why we're in this Seed the Soil series, because before we have our meeting, right, before we reveal the purpose and direction of this church going forward, we want to make sure that our soil has been properly prepared. We want to make sure that we're all in alignment with how Jesus wants us to move next, okay? Now, last week, we were talking about where we will be going, and that's to the people, right? This week, we're going to talk about how we must move together, all right? Now, before we talk about programs, plans, or purpose, we have to talk about the body, all right? So this morning, we're going to look at how God sees organization, how Christ sees the church, why every member has a role, and why the body must move in sync with the head. When the head gives direction, every part of the body has to respond properly. Okay? So before we announce our purpose, before we have our meeting, we must understand our place in the body. So today we're not going to be talking about what we're doing yet. We're going to be talking about who we are together, right? Because when God does say go, he expects the whole body to move in order. All right? Now, from the very beginning, scripture shows us something about God's nature. Before God ever moves anything forward, he brings order to what is chaotic. All right? I'm going to show you a couple examples of how God handles things, okay? The first example we're going to look at is creation, okay? In Genesis 1:1, this is what it says. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. The Bible does not say creation was evil. It says it was formless and empty. Chaos wasn't sinful. It was unstructured. Okay? And before God filled anything, before he assigned purpose to anything, before he allowed anything to have function, he organized it. All right? Genesis 1:3-5. It says, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God separated the light from the darkness. You see, God didn't just create light, he separated it. That's order. Okay? Genesis 1:6. And God said, let there be an expanse, and God made the expanse and separated the waters. More separation, more structure, more order. All right. Genesis 1:9. Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together in one place, and let the dry land appear. God gathers, God places, God names. Only after order is established does function begin. All right. So what is creation teaching us? God does not build on chaos. He organizes it first. All right. That's how God handled creation. Let's continue. Fast forward a little bit. When God chooses a people, Israel, we see him follow the same pattern. First, he prepares them. Then he organizes them. Then he moves them. Okay, Numbers 1:1. The Lord spoke to Moses saying, take a census of all the congregation of the people of Israel, by clans, by fathers' houses. You see, before they marched, before they fight, before they possessed any land, God counted them. God categorizes them. God establishes their identity and their order before they do anything. Numbers 2:1. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron saying, the people of Israel shall camp each by his own standard around the tent of meeting. You see, God assigns position, God assigns placement, God assigns proximity. No tribe chose where they stood. God decided. All right. Numbers 3:6. Bring the tribe of Levi near, and they shall keep guard as they minister at the tabernacle. Different people, different responsibilities, same mission. Only after all this can we read Numbers 10:12, and the people of Israel set out by stages according to the commandment of the Lord. Now we see movement finally happen, but it comes after organization. Now, in Genesis, God brought order before function. In Numbers, God brought organization before movement. Same God, same nature, same priority. God does not move what is unstructured. God does not advance what is unorganized. God does not send what is not in order. From creation to Israel, God has always prepared first, organized second, and then said go. All right. Now that we've seen how God views organization, we see that from creation, God brought order out of chaos. With Israel, he prepared them, organized them, and then he moved them. This is showing us something very important. Organization isn't about control. It's about life functioning the way it was designed. This is what happens when you trust the Creator, right? There's already a system in place. You just have to let go of everything that you think is right and follow the design created by the Creator, right? And if God always organizes before he moves, then moving on our own, moving unorganized, or making decisions independent from the head, independent from Christ, right? It isn't progression. Even if the world rewards you for it, of course the world will reward you for it. Who runs the world? He's going to reward you to stay as far away from God, as far away from Christ as possible. So when you are given money, when you're given status, when you're given the things that do not get you into heaven, yes, you feel temporarily good on earth, but what are you really risking? What are you really giving up, right? We have to learn to trust God so that life can start flowing, life can start functioning the way that the Creator designed it. All right. And we think that we're doing good on our own. But the truth is that if Christ organizes, if chaos is us deciding to do things on our own, moving in our own direction, then we're actually regressing. Because the first thing God did was organize. He took chaos and he organized it. But when we start moving on our own, we step back into chaos. We step back into not being governed or guided, right? It's regression. And chaos is what God brings us out of, not what he moves us into. All right. So we already saw it in the Old Testament. Creation did not move forward until God ordered it. Israel did not move forward until God organized them. So now let's step into the New Testament, and it's going to show us that God does not abandon this principle. He actually deepens it. Right? Because now God doesn't just organize people around a structure. He connects people to a head. All right. And we go from organization to organism. From organization to organism. Scripture does not describe the church as a building. It does not describe the church as a business. It does not describe the church as an institution. It describes the church as a body, a living organism. Look at this. Colossians 1:18. And he is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in everything he might be preeminent. Now watch this. The Greek word for body is soma, right? And the definition of soma is a living, unified organism, a functioning whole, not parts acting independently. The Greek word for head is kapheli. It means the source, the authority, the origin of direction. So this is why I want your hands and your legs to start moving without your head telling it to. You're going to end up in a straitjacket. But see, we live like that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
We live like that. When we're supposed to be soma, one living organism, the head being Christ, the body being us. All right. This is not symbolic leadership. It's not honorary leadership. This is literally our command center. We're supposed to be taking orders from the head. All right. And the head and the body are not separate systems. They are one system. The head thinks, the body responds. The head gives direction, the body carries it out. And if the body starts acting independently of the head, that's not freedom, that's dysfunction. And back into chaos we go. See, God takes the chaos and he organizes it. But when we try to do it on our own, when we try to dictate, then we step back into chaos. Because the one who controls, the one who sets forth we're not letting him lead. We're now letting the body lead the head. And that's not going to work. In a human body, the head sends signals. The nervous system carries them. The body responds in coordination. Every movement you make right now started in your head, even the ones that you get muscle memory from, because of intent. All right. You don't have to think about catching the football. You don't have to think about walking. But when you have the intent to walk, you start doing it. Right. And that's because your head is giving the order. Now, I want you to what happened? People sleepwalk. Right. Their head isn't giving them the order. They end up in the middle of the street. They end up out. Look, it's crazy. Right. We can find out all the diseases of your body moving without your head. They call this dis-ease. Right. So it's showing you that it is chaotic when the head is not leading. Christ said the church is the same way. The scripture says the same is true spiritually. Ephesians 4:15. Rather, speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into him who is the head, into Christ, from whom the whole body, joined and held together by every joint with which it is equipped, when each part is working properly, makes the body grow so that it builds itself up out of love, in love. Okay? Notice the order. Head, that's Christ. Body connected to him, that's us. Each part working properly. And then growth happens. If the order is broken, then growth stops. All right? And a body that moves without direction from the head is not moving forward, it's malfunctioning. Okay? Paul says it plainly, Colossians 2:19, and not holding fast to the head, from whom the whole body, nourished and knit together through its joints and ligaments, grows with a growth that is from God. If the body is not holding fast to the head, it cannot grow. That's why last week was so important. We have to see what the head did first, so we as the body will know where to go. Not where CT wants to go, not where Sister Hannah wants to go, where our head wants us to go. All right? Life, nourishment, movement flow from the head. Guess what happens if you stop eating? The body stops getting nourishment, right? Everything flows from the head. What happens if you become lazy and don't want to go nowhere? Everything flows from the head, okay? I'm going to repeat this because I want you to understand that whenever we decide to live on our own, we're deciding to live in chaos. Okay? This is different from the unknown. Okay? This is us stepping back into disorganization. All right? And then trying to build. And that's not where God says growth comes from. All right? But so if God brings order out of chaos and organizes before he moves, then chaos is not a new direction. It's a step backwards. Because if you were never ordered, how do you know where to move? A body without a head cannot move. A body without order cannot function. All right? Now, Christ does not see the church as many disconnected people doing their own thing. He sees us as one body connected to one head. All right? That means we don't all do the same thing, but we all respond to the same direction. We all respond in the same direction. We don't all move at the same time, but we all move in the same purpose. All right? Unity doesn't mean sameness. Unity means shared submission to the head. All right? My hands are different than my feet, but they are in unison. They are in alignment with the head. All right? They both have different functions. They both have different jobs to do, right? But they both have the same purpose, to serve the head. My feet will walk for me. My hands will build for me. My eyes will see for me. My mouth will speak for me. But it's all as one living organism. And none of the body can do anything independent from the head. And our head is Christ. All right? The body, listen to this, look at this. When the body moves without the head, this is how it comes out in real life. You get ministry that becomes noise, right? You get activity that replaces obedience, all right? You get effort that replaces effectiveness. What am I saying? That means that you're going to work harder, but you're not going to be effective, all right? You're going to be doing more work. You're going to be more busy, but that doesn't mean that you're being obedient. That don't mean that you're following orders just because you're busy. All right. And what I mean by the ministry becomes noise is that what is backing it, what is moving it is no longer there. So now it's the preacher or whoever's in charge doing what they want to do, not what Christ is directing them to do, directing that body to do. All right. The body may look busy, but it will not be healthy, because the goal is not movement for movement's sake. The goal is coordinated movement under Christ's guidance, under Christ's direction. All right. This is why Paul spends so much time teaching about the body. He is not introducing a new idea. He is explaining how the life of Christ flows through the church. All right? If the body is paralyzed, it doesn't matter what the head want to do.
I got you.
See, so it worked both ways. Paul is trying to tell us how the life of Christ flows through the church, through the body. 1 Corinthians 12:12. Thank you, Brother Hannah, for reading this. For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. Paul is showing us that the body has many members, that each member has a function, and that the body only works when every part does its job in sync with the head.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, Paul doesn't just tell us that the church is a body. Paul actually goes deeper than that, and he starts to tell us how the body functions, and and he does it using the language of anatomy. Because function is easiest to understand when we see how a real body works. But first remember this, church. Let me make this point. Function flows from grace, not our status. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Romans 12:6. Having gifts that differ according to the grace given to us, let us use them. Notice that gifts are given. They're not earned. Functions are assigned by grace, not ambition, not what you want to achieve, not how bad you want it, right? This is all flowing, not from your status, it's flowing from grace. We all have been given different gifts, all right? Not on our own merit either. It's by the grace of God that I can do what I can do, that Brandon can do what he can do, that Sister Hannah's so good at what she do. That's what God gave her. Not because of anything that she did, but because he needed her to have it for her earthly mission. You don't choose your function. You discover it by being obedient. All right? Now, Paul gets into parts of the body. Let's get into this a little bit. First, he hits on the eyes. The eyes are responsible for sight, awareness, direction. A body without eyes can move, but it moves blindly. Paul speaks to this function in 1 Corinthians 12:17. If the whole body were an eye, where would be the sense of hearing? You see, the eyes represents vision and discernment in the body. Seeing where God is leading, watching for danger, helping the body move wisely. Not everyone is called to lead, but someone must be the eyes. All right? Then we have the ears. What are the ears responsible for? Hearing, receiving instruction, discernment of sound. A body that cannot hear cannot respond accurately. Paul again, 1 Corinthians 12:17. If the whole body were an ear, where would be the sense of smell? Spiritually, ears represents listening for God's voice, hearing needs within the body, receiving instruction before action. The body doesn't just move, it listens first. All right? And then we have the mouth. The mouth is responsible for communication, instruction, expression. Paul highlights this function, Romans 12:6. If prophecy in proportion to our faith, the one who teaches in his teaching, the one who exhorts in his exhortation. The mouth represents teaching truth, encouragement, and the one that don't nobody like, correction. And declaring what the head has spoken. The mouth does not speak its own language. It speaks what the head sends. What do we call when you just blurt out screaming and your mind didn't say do that? What's that? Ain't that schizophrenia? Tourette's. Yeah. See that dis-ease. When the body is not in alignment, you get dis-ease, you get disease. All right. Then we have the hands. What are the hands responsible for? Work, service, carrying burdens. Without hands, nothing gets done. Paul addresses this clearly in 1 Corinthians 12 and 21. The eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need for you. Because the hand represents serving, helping, supporting the vision practically, physically. Much of what keeps the body alive happens through hands that nobody ever applauds. Hands are very important. This is the action. This is the work. All right. And then the problem with you being hands is that you probably won't get a hand clap for everything that you do. Your hard work will go unseen at times. It's hard being the hands, right? But then you the eyes and what they cry about. I don't do enough work. We all gotta, and that's why I say to grow in love. Because not only do we gotta work in the capacity that God created us to work in, but we also have to be able to relate, love, and get along and make room for other people's gifts, for other people to grow. And we gotta do this while being one. And then we have the feet. Feet are responsible for movement, direction, carrying the body forward. Paul ties this function to purpose in Romans 10 and 15. How beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news. Because feet represent outreach, going where the head sends, carrying the body beyond where it's at currently. The body was never designed to stay still. Then we have the heart. The heart supplies life, rhythm, and unity. If the heart fails, the whole body fails. Paul speaks to this internal function in 1 Corinthians 12 and 25, that there may be no division in the body, but that the members may have the same care for one another. The heart represents love, compassion, unity, and shared concern. A body can survive many broken bones, but a broken heart stops movement in its tracks. Paul concludes this very clearly in 1 Corinthians 12 and 18. But as it is, God arranged the members in the body, each one of them, as he chose. All right? You didn't place yourself. You don't place yourself. God does. You don't choose your function. You steward it. None of the gifts that we have are from ourselves. They were gifts. What's a gift mean? If I give something to Sister Hannah, that means that she received something that didn't belong to her. So all our gifts, all CT, you sow this, all Brandon, you sow this, that came from God. And you are to steward it. Not start bragging on it that you got it and other people don't. You steward it. You take good care of it and you use it for the kingdom. You use it for the one. Can y'all imagine me gifting you a car and I ask you for a ride in it and you say no?
I got you. I got you.
That's what we doing when we're not putting our gifts to use for Christ, to use for the kingdom. It don't even got to be a car. Let me give you $100. Oh man, I left my wallet. You got me? Oh nah, bro. Bro, you got the 100 in your pocket. I just got, yeah, it's mine now. That's exactly what we all do, right? And Jesus made it a point to go by the boats. He made it a point to work with them with what they were doing, but then he flipped it. Now we got to go catch some men, no homo, right? Right, they started out fishing and now they're fishers of men, right? That's what God is doing. He gonna meet us in our workplace. But that occupation at some point got to turn into purpose. You don't choose your function, you steward it. All right? God gave all us gifts. He gave them to us. We did not earn them. All right? We steward them. We use them for the kingdom. You got to be mindful of what you're really saying to God, because you're spitting in his face. Because like I just said, I dare somebody give you something, let you have something, and then you restrict them from using it. You have the right to do that, though. It's yours. Just know that at some point you're going to have to answer for what you do with what God gave you. The body doesn't need more parts trying to be the head. It needs every part doing its job properly. All right? Today wasn't about titles. It wasn't about positions. And it wasn't about who does what yet. Today was simply about understanding the body. Because before God moves a body, he makes sure the body understand how it works and who it's connected to. God brings order before movement. Christ is the head. The church is one living body. Every part matters, and growth only happens when each part works in sync with the head. Paul didn't say the body grows because it's busy, because it's active, right? He said it grows when it's connected. Colossians 2:19, holding fast to the head, from whom the whole body, nourished and knit together through its joints and ligaments, grows with a growth that is from the world? No. From your own works? No. From your wishes? No. From God. A growth that grows from God. Doesn't matter how bad you want to be big. If you don't do it the way Christ and God are trying to tell us to do it, growth cannot happen. All right? That goes from your household to your businesses to the church. We got to stay connected to the head, okay? So before we talk about movement, before we talk about direction, before we talk about purpose, we're going to pause here, not to assign roles, not to create pressure, but to allow understanding to take root. This is the question I have for y'all today, right? Just ask this in your hearts, right? Am I holding fast to the head? Or have I been trying to move on my own? Not am I doing enough? Am I visible enough? Am I important enough? But am I connected? Am I listening? Am I willing to function wherever God places me? Scripture never asks us to find our importance. It simply asks us to remain connected, to surrender and reconnect ourselves with the Father. Ephesians 4:16, when each part is working properly, makes the body grow so that it builds itself up in love. God doesn't need a body full of heads. He needs a body fully connected to the head, a body fully connected to Christ. Church, we're not going to rush this season. We're not forcing movement. We are seeding the soil. Because when God says go, he wants a body that can move together in order, in unity, and in love. But the first thing that we always got to do is invite people to this body. Constantly try to get people into the body of Christ. That's our goal, to bring Christ to the nations. So I'm asking, if anybody out in the audience wants to give their life to Christ, come join the body so that you can be connected to the head. It's the same thing when God says, Jesus said, apart from me, you cannot bear fruit. You cannot grow without this formula that I'm putting in front of you. We must step out of chaos. We got to step out our own way, and we got to let God lead us. We got to let Christ lead us as our head. He is the one that tells us when, where, how, what to do. But you must be surrendered. You must come with your hearts humbled. You must get out your own way. If anybody in the audience wants to give their life to Christ, if anybody online hears this message, reach out to us. We will get you baptized. We will show you the right way. We will show you the way Christ showed us. We're not doing anything from what we think is right. We're doing everything from how our head, Christ, is leading us. All right? So if nobody wants to give their life to Christ this morning, I'm going to ask if you please stand while we sing our song of invitation.